And hello everyone, welcome back to another HTML tutorial. So in the previous tutorial we did talk about the head tag. In fact, I have basically an entire HTML course ready for you to watch. After I finish that course, however, this is a great place to use your skills, to put it inside of a project. We are going to create a blogging website. Currently, it will look trash and it won't really work a lot. But as we build up skill, so as we learn Bootstrap, as we learn CSS, as we learn JavaScript, we're going to take the project we have now and we're going to add to it. We're going to add what we've learned to it to improve the project. Then at some point, this will be a completely working project with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and at some point React, TypeScript, Vue, all of these different cool things. This might even get some PHP thrown in there and whatnot. So let's get started. Let's start trying to build our website. Now I'm going to say HTML and I'll keep most of this, like the description, and we can delete font awesome for right now. So I'll keep all of this right here for now. Next, we can go, instead of my site, we can say Bloggers Paradise. And right here, we now have our first website. Now this shortcut icon, I do have this shortcut icon somewhere. Now if we go to github.com, then you will see, if you go to Weebnetsu and then YouTube projects, this link will also be in the description, of course. Then you can go here to HTML blogging website. And here is the whole project source code. I don't want you to just copy and paste this. I want you to go here if you need some extra code or something like the icon we're going to use right now. Or if you want to fix a piece of code because your code isn't looking the same. If we go to source, then you'll see font awesome and images. We want to go to images. And here we have two images. I want you to download both of them. So you just click on them and yeah, there's a download button right there. You can just download both of them and add them to your project. And once you've downloaded that, you can go here, create a new folder, call it src for source. Then you can create a new folder inside of that and call it images. Now inside of images, you want to paste those images you have. So I've already downloaded them, so you can just paste them in there. So paste, and you should see this image right here and this image right here. Cool. Now once you have that, you are all set. Now here, where this icon is, you can just change that to src, images, and then logo.png. You could also rename that to say icon instead. And now you'll have a little logo here at the top. Cool. Now let's start from the top. First, I would like the website to have a navigation to at least 3 pages. The home page, the user's profile page, and to create a blog page. So I'm going to create a nav, and then inside of that nav, I'm going to create an unordered list. And inside of that unordered list, I'm going to create 3 li tags like this. Then inside of each li tag, I'm going to create an a tag. This a tag will contain links to the different pages. So in this case, index.html, the current page we're on. And here we can just specify home because this will be the home page. We can copy this and we can paste it in these two. This one will link to profile.html and to post.html. Here we can say your profile and then post blog. Then you'll see these right here. Cool. Now let's create the header. So the header, we can just say header, not to be confused with the head. The head and the header are two different tags. that's very important to take note of. We can give it an H1 and then Bloggers Paradise, because this is the name of the website and I would like it to be clear to everyone. Then we can give it like a little slogan that says home for all bloggers. There we go, home for all bloggers. And then we can also link our top post of the day. So top post today, and that can be a link to somewhere in the website and then the title of the post. In this case, I'm just going to say ... because we do not have a title yet. Next, let's do the footer before we get to the main content of the page. So we do the bottom part of the page. So I'm going to create a footer and then use the center tag to center the content in the footer. Take note, it's red here because the center tag is not well known. In fact, I believe in probably some websites it doesn't really get used. But because I'm using only HTML in this tutorial, I will be using this to center my text. But in a future tutorial, I'll use something else. Here we can create maybe an H4 tag and say subscribe to our, and we can maybe give our YouTube channel here. You could put like your copyrighted things in there for like, this is copyrighted and the developers can go look here for API code and whatnot and whatnot. But here I'm just going to give a shout out to my YouTube channel. And that will just go to https://www.youtube.com/StevesTeacher. And here we can say YouTube channel. Cool, so now you'll see this. Now if I click on this YouTube channel, you'll notice that it will immediately redirect me to this page right here. But we don't want that. We want the user to stay on our page. So when we link out to a different website, we should then use target_blank to tell it to open up a new blank tab. If we click on it, you won't get this, but I have an extension installed to stop that from happening. But then it will open up on a new tab instead of on the same tab. So rather do that, because if we open it up on a new tab, that's better. Because then they can still stay on our website. Because the longer they stay on the website, the better. Cool. Now for the main content of the website. So we can go here and say main. And here you can either choose between a div or a section. I prefer to go div here just because that's what I prefer, but you can choose whatever you want. Mainly, I just use the header, the main, the footer, and the nav. I don't care too much about the other special tags. Now here we can create a div with the ID today I had a bad day. Then inside of this div, we can put an H2 with the title today I had a bad day. And then a span to give the user's username that wrote this. So Martin Maguire. If we do that, we'll see this. Now we can add a P tag, and this P tag will contain a bunch of lorem, like that. Just some dummy text, because I'm not going to write an entire blog. I'm too lazy for that. We can then add two buttons, one to like, and then say how many people has liked this, so you can also like it, and then dislike, and here we can say 2. Now we have a like button and a dislike button. We click them, nothing happens, but in the future, once we know a bit of JavaScript, something will. Now this is cool and all, but wouldn't it be cooler if we had some, well, I don't know, just something to make it look a bit more friendly? Well, we can have something there. So let's go here and search for font awesome. Now if you search for font awesome, then you should see this right here. The first link. Then right here. This is font awesome 6. You can just say start for free. Now font awesome 6 is what we'll be using to do all of this. So if you are using a different font awesome version, you might have some trouble. But once you're here, you can just go to the download page. So if you scroll down, there's the download. And as you can see, Font Awesome 6, which is latest. And here you can also change the version. And we want to download this right here, free for web. And you'll see this right here, a download. Once we open it, you'll see it right here. We can extract that. If you don't know how to extract a .zip, then I do recommend you get WinRAR and then just install that. That will allow you to extract a zip file. But you can extract it, and let's see here. It extracted to here. You can then copy this, and you can go to your project. So right here, this is where my project is located. Then you can go to your source and just paste it there. Then once you do that, you'll see this right here. Now, we can go here, rename it, and just remove any extra text because that's just going to make our lives harder. Now it's Font Awesome. You could specify 6 if you want. But once we have that, we can import it. So here, we can say link, and we can just go src, font awesome, and then CSS, and then all.css. So Font Awesome, CSS, all.css. You don't have to worry about these CSS files. They're just basically given to us, so we don't have to do all of that CSS. Once we save this, we should have Font Awesome imported to our project. Next, we can add some icons to make everything look a bit more fun. For example, here we can add an icon that has the class .fa and then fa house user. Save that and you'll get a little house right there. So here we have fa and then fa house user. To know what icons Font Awesome has, you can go to their website, to icons, and in here with search, you can do something like house. And here you will find house. I recommend going and clicking on free so you know what the free items are. And of course, if you wanted to, you can search user. And here you'll go. And there. So this is the one we are using. If you click on it, you can see here they give you how to add it. Now actually I see we should use solid, but I did not do that. Some bad Font Awesome 4 habits. We can then copy this and we can add it to these three or these two here as well. The next one we want is the one that's fa user, and the one after that is feather pointed. I do not know how to spell feather, and then pointed. Then you'll see this. So now we have home, your profile, and then post blog. And it all has like these nice little images next to them. With the rest of the website, we can also add a few things. For example, here with this button, we can add another one right here. So instead of saying like we do here, we can paste this here, which is an I tag with class fa thumbs up. And then we can do the same here with dislike, but this will be thumbs down. Save that, and now we have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. That looks pretty neat. And yeah, that is that for this first part. I would like to add more blog posts, but that's quite a lot of typing. So what I am going to do is I'm going to copy and paste what I already have and put it here. You can do the same from the GitHub link, but then you'll notice we now have more blogs. So here we go, Martin Maguire, and then there, and then Lisa Aka, and then here, and then Megan Colley, and then here. You also notice this one has a continue reading, because that could be a future thing that we could implement for if it's too long, they can just say continue reading and it will take them to a page with all of this. And as you can see, so yeah, it's just basically copy and paste. But take notice of this one. Wow, a car just hit a cloud like a lightning bolt. It has 100 likes and 5 dislikes. Way more than the rest. So I would say that is the top post of today. So let's make that the top post of today. So if we go here, we can actually see that it's right here. A car just hit, and there we can see it. We can take this ID, and here with this A tag, we can just paste it. And then yet again, we can go down and just copy this title and paste that here. Now if we save it, it will link us down here once we click it. because it has a hashtag and then that div's ID. So a card just hit, and here a card just hit, and that will take us down here if we click on it. So as you can see here. Cool. So we just built our first page here, the index page, the home page. It doesn't look great, but the idea is that we used some HTML. We used some cool HTML knowledge to our advantage and created a website. In the next tutorials, we'll be making this website look better using Bootstrap and CSS, but that's for a future tutorial. Next up, we can create another page, and it can be called profile.html. Profile.html would be quite similar to this index.html in terms of the head. The rest of the things we don't need as much, so we can just go here and delete all of this like that. Cool. Now we can go to your profile, and as you can see, we just see this. Also, I believe I forgot to give it a description. There we go. Let's blog until we can blog no more. Cool. And if for those of you who forgot, the description is basically the little description people see when they Google your website. And here we can give it another description. There we go. View your profile on Blogger's Paradise. And in here we can maybe say the user's username, and in that is their profile. So Josh Pazinski, and then profile. Now there we go, Josh Pazinski and profile. We keep the navigation bar because we want that on basically every page, so you can go wherever you want, whenever you want. We can then create a form that is of type post. We will not be implementing this form yet because we do not know the right technologies to do that. We could then use a field set to make it look good, and then a legend where we can maybe specify an h1 tag, and then this user's name. Just paste that there. You'll then see something similar to this. Now we can use again our font awesome and add a button inside of this h1 for now, because currently we have no other method of making it look good without putting it in this h1. But later on we will find a good method for it. And then we can use an I tag with the class of fa regular fa pen to square. This right here basically means edit. So if you want to edit this name here, you can just click on that and edit the name. Cool. Just remember to specify type button on this button and not type submit. Otherwise it will submit the form, and we don't want that yet. Next, we want maybe a div, and this div will contain an image, and this image will contain source, then images, and then profile photo.jpg. And then we can maybe also give the user's username here, because we're going to expect that that's the user. Now if we were to just go here, you'll notice we have images and then profile photo.jpg, and that's what we're using here. Currently it doesn't quite fit that great, so we should resize it. To do that, we can go here, just format the code and say width, and let's make it about 300. There we go. That looks good. We can then add another edit button here, and that will give us an edit button. We could resize the page a tad so we can see it better. So right there. So this is their profile picture, and if they click on this, this should theoretically allow them to change their profile picture. But currently, we can't do that. But we can at least put in the basics. Cool. So we now have a button for editing, even though we can't edit yet, but we do have the button. We can then add a p tag, and I'm just going to add some lorem here. This will be their description, so I'm just going to say lorem times 4. And there we go. There's their description. And we can take this button again, we can copy it. We can go here inside of this p tag and add it there. So at the end, if I just disable this right here, then you'll notice we have an edit button. Cool. And that's that for the profile page. Doesn't look great, doesn't have a lot of data, but as I said, we will be building up on this later on. Next, we can create the post.html page. This is basically where they'll be posting their blogs. I'll copy this, paste this here, close these two, close this, go to the top, hide the nav, hide the form, delete the form, even though we will be using it, but not that exact one. Cool. Then here we can just give our new description, and here we can say post blog. If we now go to post blog, we'll see this. Now we can create a form of type post again, because we want to pass in secure information. This could be a get, but there will be a lot of text that's going to be passed into this link right here. So for right now, I don't think get is the way to go. We should be doing a post here, but we will be getting to get and post later on once we have more control over it. We can then create a label, and this one can just be for title and say blog title. We can then get a break line there. Now we can create an input of type text with the name title and ID title. Remember, this 4 here is linked to the ID, not the name. So if I save this and I click here, it will autofocus on this. If I remove the name and I click here, it will autofocus on this. So it's focused on the title, not the name. It's just usually common to find that the name and the ID is the same, but it does focus on the ID. We can then give it a placeholder. So placeholder and say at my job today ... And then after that, we can maybe give it a minimum length. So the title should be a specific amount of characters, so 10, and then the max length should be 30. And then it is required. Now, if they try to submit this, which they can't yet, then it has to have at least 10 characters in the title and a max length of 30. So it can't go over 30 characters. We can then add 2 line breaks here, and then we can create another label. This label will be for content and blog. Content, we can add a break line here, and then add a text area with the name content. Content, the columns and the rows can be the same. We can add a placeholder. This week was really strange. We can add a min length of 50 characters, which isn't that much, and then a max length of 500 characters. You could probably increase this if you want. And then required. Now we will have this. So we can add a blog content and then the blog title as well. And then of course at the end, we can add an input of type submit with the value post. There we go. Now if you click this, it will say this field is required thanks to this required tag here. If I add something, it will tell me I have 2 characters and the minimum required is 10. So if I go here, 10. Okay, now if I were to make this too many characters, which it does not allow. Cool. Then here, it will tell us to fill in this field because it's required. Then it will tell us it needs at least 50 characters, which we can add. Maybe post. It can't do anything yet, but the idea is there. So there we go. We have created a very basic blogging website. We can't blog yet. It looks terrible, but I promise you, follow along with my tutorials that's coming up and we will make this website look great. We're going to use Bootstrap, which we're learning next, to tweak this to look good, because if you saw my previous tutorial, I showed you an example of a Bootstrap button out of the box and it looks great. We'll be doing things like that here. Then we'll be learning CSS to take the Bootstrap we have and even improve it more. So now the website will look even better. After that, we'll learn some JavaScript, add some functionality to this website. And after that, we'll learn some PHP, React, and a bunch of other things, and we'll be rebuilding that website, this website, for every one of those languages. In this case, with PHP, it will be pretty simple. With React, it will be pretty simple, and whatnot. And yeah, that is that. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next tutorial.